Welcome into TexAgs Rewind, presented by Yeti. I'm David Nuno, Ryan Broninger. Bronny, typically we get
I can introduce myself.
Sorry, just you start the rewind.
No, we're going to keep all this in. But I'm Ryan Broninger, and he's David Nuno.
And we are doing the TexAgs Rewind, presented by Yeti. So usually you have at least 30, sometimes 35 minutes with me. Today you had like 9.
Because somebody likes to hear themselves talk on the radio more than I do, I guess.
I do. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking somebody else.
Yeah, somebody else. But, his name's on the website, and
he's a big
deal. He does sign our checks, I guess.
Pretty big deal. We had Billy Lucci on the show. We had Roy Philpott. He is on the broadcast, by the way. We learned during the broadcast. Mike Elko is going to join him in the booth for a segment. So we'll see Coach Elko tonight there at the Texas Bowl. John Harris, you think he's getting geeked up for tonight?
Dude, that guy's always geeked up about football.
Yeah. We had Johnny on the show. And Recruiting Country with Ryan Broninger. Biggest thing that you think came out of your conversation with us?
I think that we're tracking the Nick Scorton stuff.
Yeah.
Brian High Viking now in the transfer portal after a fantastic couple of years at Purdue, and with kind of when you look at A&M's roster situation, what do they need going into next year? With Fadil Diggs leaving, there's an open spot that one of those defensive ends and an impact player like Scorton would be huge for Mike Elko.
So we're tracking that and more. Check out the TexAgs Rewind. Players now entering the portal. Obviously, more players going into the NFL draft earlier than they used to. All those things and not really knowing, like A&M, perfect example of not really knowing who's going to play for them.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, it's hard to know what to expect tonight. I take a lot of pride when we have our production meetings at ESPN and talking to our crew and kind of, I don't want to say forecasting what's going to happen, but having a sense of what could happen. Tonight is not one of those nights. I mean, when you look at Texas A&M on defense and probably down to just 2 normal starters, it's hard to predict what that looks like. When you look at their offense and you're probably down to 3 or 4 legitimate wideouts, it's hard to predict, what's going to happen. So it is totally different than what it used to be. I mean, even just before COVID in 2019, we had the same game in this same bowl game 4 years ago between the Cowboys and the Aggies. And it was much easier then. Now you don't know who's ready to go. You don't know whose mind is truly in it. Like the guys who are going to play tonight, are they truly all there? Like, are they going to give up, if it's the second quarter in a 10-point game and they're thinking ahead towards where they want to go next year? It's hard to predict. I think it makes it more compelling in a certain respect, but yeah, it's a night and day difference. Talking to staff this week, they would tell you the same thing and how they're getting ready for this game.
Yeah, I wanted to ask how much help do the coaches give you in terms of what to look for or I guess background on some of the guys? Or I wonder, I mean, especially in A&M's case, I mean, there's guys here, coaches here that aren't going to be around. I wonder how much they even know.
I would tell this to Aggie fans, like this staff has done a remarkable job behind the scenes of staying in the present. And I don't think that that's easy to do. If you're Elijah Robinson and you're off to Syracuse and you've been recruiting some for the Orange during your downtime, whenever time that's been over the course of the last few weeks, you're being tugged in all different directions. But, he reiterated to us guys this week that he wanted to be there for this team. He recruited a lot of these players. And I think I believe that
in your building here over the next couple of weeks, you're going to have a bunch of games. Just how jazzed does that get you?
Well, I mean, this week in and of itself, started Sunday. Obviously, not a great result, but we had a game Sunday against the Browns, and we have TaxAg Texas Bowl tonight, Aggies and Cowboys tonight, and then flip the field for Sunday because we've got Texans taking on Titans, which is always a fun game. It hasn't been at home lately, but on the road's been great. So, but hopefully we flip it. So that's 3 games in 8 days here. And then the following week, Monday night, we'll have the national championship game here. Now, that one, hopefully I'll just be attending as a fan, I hope. So I'm still trying to get all my credentials in order so I can just watch that as a fan. But it'll be a crazy night if one team is involved for sure. And it could be a rematch, and that's kind of what I'm expecting in some sense, is a rematch of earlier this season, and they'll play right here in Jalen Milroe's backyard, so to speak. So that'd be an interesting. It's interesting and it can be an interesting too, depending on what happens at Washington Texas game. I mean, either way, you're going to get a really good matchup. But I think the people of Houston, obviously, and the ticket brokers here in Houston are really hoping one particular team ends up here and comes out of the semifinal game.
Yeah. By the way, if it's a rematch, I don't think Saban gets beat twice. That's just how I kind of look at it.
No, it'll. It's an Alabama team it's interesting because every time you want to really count them out, well, they're not going to win this game. Well, they're not going to beat the Aggies on the road. This is the time the Aggies will get them again. They found a way. Auburn's got them by the little ones, 4th and 31, and Milroe throws a miracle pass. Okay, Auburn can't get them. Yeah, but Georgia will get them in the SEC championship game. Nope.
They're going to have to. Jalen Henderson and that offense are going to have to score. Oklahoma State has a veteran quarterback. They've got a receiver out there running around that played the last time A&M played in a bowl game. I believe he scored a touchdown in that game. So this is a tough matchup. If the Aggies can win this bowl game, if you're Mike Gundy, I got to be like, what? And I know he's not. He's been there so long, but you'd have to wonder if he's like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What exactly am I doing? And you got to look at like somebody like Lane Kiffin or these guys that have moved around and go, I just stayed here. Did I stay too long? Because if Oak State can't beat A&M tonight, and I know there's a plethora of Longhorn fans are just waiting with my tweets about how bad Oak State. First of all, Oak State, they got routed by South Alabama. They got routed by UCF.
Mm-hmm.
They also were playing that bowl game. Ollie Gordon was banged up and completely ineffective against Texas, and he was hurt. He was on, off. This is an A&M team it's like the practice squad. It's like you're going in there playing. A lot of it is going to be like the practice squad. If this A&M team were to beat Oak State tonight, man, that would be a damning indictment. And it sucks to say that because this is where bowl games have gotten.
Yep.
When you have a coaching change, it's like virtually no chance. What I hope happens is I hope that they have effort like they did in that bowl game against Wake Forest. I hope they have effort like they did in that bowl game against Northwestern when they did win. They did win a bowl. But see, what happened then is you had a future first-round pick in Ryan Tannehill playing. Nowadays, Tannehill might, but those guys don't play in bowl games.
No,
Look
don't.
at Jaden Daniels. Like, those dudes, Johnny wasn't going to the NFL, but look at Johnny. Had something to prove in that bowl game.
You maintained on the boards. If you're a premium subscriber, you would have seen it. You felt really good. Your intel was pointing in the right direction.
It was Jason and my intel. We were both getting it from different sources, but matching information, which is always encouraging. And I don't think it was a done deal until Thursday night that Dalen was going to sign early and going to sign early with Texas A&M. Dalen likes to troll. He likes to have a little bit of fun. Miles Davis even hinted at that on social media after Dalen made his announcement. But them getting him over the line and getting him to sign it was just more of it was another good kind of marker for the impact that Mike Elko has had in such a short period of time. He's your longest standing commit. Texas made a late push at him without ever really getting him on campus. So that it just wouldn't have been as good of a look. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have hurt you from a perception standpoint more so than I think anything else. But, when Dalen is locked in and focused, and if he comes to campus with a chip on his shoulder and ready to work, Dalen could be a really good football player. Like, he is as talented as any of those defensive linemen that Mike Elko signed during his first tenure here as defensive coordinator. So the upside there is insanely high. Same with Dominic McKinley. Like, if they're able to close the door on Dominic McKinley, which I think is going to be more difficult than it will be with Terry Bussey, but if they're able to get him on campus, like, it may take him a little bit to kind of rehaul his technique and, transform his body, all that stuff, but the tools are there in spades. And so would be really encouraged by his future if you're able to get him on campus because he's just such a phenomenal athlete as a defensive lineman. But for Mike Elko and Sean Spencer and the rest of the staff that's already here, Tony Gerard-Eddy has played a big role in some of these, getting Dalen to sign. Tony was a big player in that. So these guys that maybe were carryovers from the last staff, or a guy like Tony who's an Aggie, had come back to College Station and worked his way up from an analyst or a GA to an analyst and now potentially even a full-time coaching role, like those are like notches in the belt.
All right, Bronny, can you tell the people what to do?
Like, comment, subscribe, share. Did I get them all?
You got them all?
What are you going to do tonight? Are you going to go eat somewhere in Houston?
No.
No.
I'm actually doing the show from here.
Oh, you're not even going.
I'm not going.
I forgot you're a fake Houstonian.
No, I'm a
Go Stros.
Just remember, I traveled with the Astros when you were watching on TV. All right. I'll be doing the post-game show from here. That's fine.
All right.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.